Postpartum retreats are starting to pop up slowly, not
Mhm.
very quickly, but slowly around the country.
Postpartum can be a very isolating time.
Less complications decreases the cost of healthcare. There's so much value to what seems to be such a simple solution.
It's
The
a false
home,
reality.
right, right. That
I
I didn't
think
even
of,
think about it in terms of
yeah,
that. I was like, well, what is
what is
this?
this? Yeah.
Most people don't really know is really what the structure of these retreats are. Now, I do have concerns about these retreats.
Okay.
And my concern is that while I think the concept is really great, actually I have several concerns, but
It was the side eye for me. If we could
yes,
just help moms to just heal their bodies and be with their babies,
yes,
I promise.
it will be
I would
revolutionary.
literally die on a hill.
I wasn't gonna go there, but since you stepped into it, let's talk about it. Are you familiar with postpartum retreats? Well, they started in the United States in 2022, but their long history precedes that establishment. Now there are several across the country, from Virginia to Seattle. But are they the solution we had hoped them to be? Or did we miss the mark? Find out what you should know about these support services on today's episode. And as always, we thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to do what? Click subscribe. So many people are noticing a trend when it comes to postpartum services. We know that postpartum is the time period in pregnancy where there's the highest rate for complications. And most people actually don't even know that more than 50% of the complications that happen in association with pregnancy happen during the postpartum period. And so there is definitely a need to improve how we service women during the postpartum period, and also what services we provide for women as they're recovering from childbirth and the entire experience of pregnancy. And so we've noticed that there's a trend for these postpartum retreats. And postpartum retreats are starting to pop up slowly, not
Mhm.
very quickly, but slowly around the country. And there are very interesting questions that many people have about these postpartum retreats. And so today I'm excited to have Janee Mitchell back on the virtual couch with us.
Hey, hey.
See, you heard that was my applause.
I love it.
Janee is so good.
Pew, pew, pew.
I need those soundtracks. It is so good to have you back on the couch with us, with
And
your experience as a professional counselor, and also your experience as a mom. So I'm excited to hear your take on this, because this is definitely trending. What's
yeah.
your understanding of what these retreats are about?
Um, it's like a time for moms to come together and like have support. Um, I'm sure like kind of be able to share experience with stories were like, and also look into like care, postpartum care. Um, I would hope postpartum like health wise, like what that looks like, and just to have a space, a way to just like reconnect with self, right? Because I think what we know about the birthing process is when you give birth to a new life, you also kind of birth a new self. You have to reconnect or relearn who you are, because you are no longer the same, and that is uh what I find personally and professionally in work that most women really struggle with is
Mhm.
coming back after after giving birth.
Yeah, yeah. And it's I remember seeing on social media, not sure which one, there was a video of a woman. It was a filming of her childbirth, and she was silent after the birth, not moving, very still, silent. And it was a experience of shock for her. And I think people underestimate still to this day the impact that birth has on the body
And
physically, and on the mind,
the
and
psyche.
even just on the spirit, right?
Mhm.
And so I was I was kind of intrigued by the fact that she posted this video, but I was also in a way kind of happy that we're starting to have these conversations, that people are visibly seeing what happens to women as a result of this transition of bringing
Yeah.
life to this earth, and seeing her just laying still less in shock. Her husband was there supporting her. But I definitely think that it makes that impact of saying, this is a huge transition, not just for the baby to come earthside, but also for the mom to have birthed the
Mhm.
child,
Mhm.
birth this life into this
Mhm.
world. And so when I first saw these retreats, I was also intrigued by, where's this idea coming from?
Mhm.
Who thought of this? And a lot of people don't even know kind of the birth of this particular concept, no pun intended, but maybe. Um,
Because it's all birthing.
because it's all things birthing,
All birth.
right? But what's interesting is this concept is birthed out of South Korea. And in South Korea, they have this system that really seems to really support moms. And you see a lot of influencers who are in South Korea who are sharing their experience having these support systems. I think they even have nannies that help the moms postpartum.
I spent a week at a Korean confinement center known as Sanho, a place where new mothers recover from childbirth and receive support during the early days of motherhood. The average cost in Korea varies depending on the duration and services, typically ranging from 2.5 to 4 million Korean won. Some luxury ones can cost up to 10 million. Joliwons have become a deeply rooted part of Korean postnatal culture, with most mothers staying up to 2 weeks to a month after giving birth. With this popularity, reservation is required months before birth and can be booked out fast. One of the biggest benefits is that mothers can truly rest while their babies are cared for in a nursery around the clock. You can breastfeed or see your baby at any time, but the focus is really on giving your body the time and space it needs to heal. Another key part of postpartum care in many Asian cultures is eating nutrient-rich foods that help strengthen the body and boost milk production. Massage therapy is included, offering both body and breast massages to support healing and lactation. There are also postnatal yoga and light exercises classes to help gently rebuild strength. For first-time moms, newborn care classes and parenting support programs are available, which can be incredibly helpful during such a vulnerable time. This time around, my postpartum experience was so much smoother than my first. I feel incredibly grateful to have had this opportunity, and most importantly, to have given my body the rest and care it truly deserved.
Their whole maternity setup is really impressive. The moms are entitled to 90 days of paid maternity leave. 45 of those days are required days that you have to take before and after childbirth. Employers are responsible to pay your salary for 60 days, and the government covers the other 30 days. If you have multiple gestations, like twins and triplets and so forth, God bless you if you're in that so forth category. They have it's extended to up to 120 days, and they have a very strong support system for even preterm births, which is something we haven't really looked into here, where their maternity leave for preterm births has been extended to 100 days, and dads get a guaranteed 10 days. Now, we may want to extend that, but at least that's something, right?
How much the Korean government gives for having a baby, a country with one of the lowest birth rates in the world. Me, an American living in Korea, married to a Korean and just gave birth last month. Here's what the Korean government gives. First, there's about $730 for prenatal care, $510 for transportation, and after having a baby, about $1,500 as a welcome gift, $370 for postpartum services, so lactation, consultant, or massages. Then parents receive $730 monthly for the first year and $370 monthly the second year. Baby receives about $75 monthly, and then there's a discount on our electricity bill. And today he just turned 1 month, so they sent him a cake to the house to celebrate. Yeah, I mean, this is all in USD, not Korean won, so it may not sound like a lot in USD, but trust me, we're super grateful.
And so the South Korean system have developed a support system that kind of birthed this concept of these postpartum retreats. Now, I do have concerns about these retreats.
Okay.
And my concern is that while I think the concept is really great, actually I have several concerns, but listen.
It was the side eye for me.
I have several concerns. My first concern is the concept of a retreat is great, but I'm wondering if what I don't want it to be is a replacement for the village,
The
right? A
support system.
replacement for the authentic village.
Mhm,
So the
mhm,
moms and the mother-in-laws and the aunties and the
mhm.
grandmothers who are typically that support system that is not only there and really can nurture in a way that a formalized organization can't, um, but also are able to be a part of the new child's life from the beginning. So they start that bonding at a very early stage.
Ex-
So that's one concern for me.
My main concern, I would say, is similar to yours, and it's the fact that does this translate after? Like it's kind of like this high, and then what happens once the retreat is over? And so that's always been my biggest thing is like, okay, it's great that we can shower the mom with these things, we can give these supports, but like, what if once she goes home, she doesn't have anybody else there, right? And so I think one of my, I guess, encouragements, if you will, would be to um connect the family with that. Or if there's not family, like spend work doing kind of like getting to know that mom to know like, okay, do you have this at home? How can we help be a part of like that community building, that village building if you do not have that? And what does it look like for each mom? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my biggest thing because it could be a very postpartum can be a very isolating time, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if a mom goes from like the highs of like birthing a child, and we all know medically, you know how like everything drops after that. If in that drop I'm also now disconnecting from this retreat, that could it could have really like adverse effects. And so
Right.
yeah, like I think that would be my like main challenge with it, which I think connects to a whole bunch of other smaller things as well.
Yeah, that's that. I like that point because you're right. It kind of takes you from this utopia type of environment, and then you go home and the dishes are not washed.
It's
The
a false
home,
reality.
right, right. That
I
I didn't
think
even
of
think about it in terms of
Yeah.
that.
I
That's a
think
really
about
good
like
point.
hospitals,
Mm-hmm.
like when you're at the hospital, and you know, I guess I can speak from both sides. I had my daughter in a hospital setting, and I had my son in during a home birth. And so like I remember in the hospital, you know, like there's somebody there every 2 hours coming in, checking this, getting this, you know, and then you go home and the hospital's like, okay, like after 48 hours maybe, they're like, all
Uh-huh.
right, like congratulations, mom, out the door. Like
We're good to go home. Just remember to focus on getting some rest over the next few weeks. But also follow safe sleep for the baby. So the baby should only sleep alone on a flat surface, which they're definitely going to hate. And they're only going to want to sleep on you, but you cannot sleep when they do that. But also nap when the baby naps, okay? Make sure that you breastfeed and do it on demand, but also only every 2 to 3 hours. Anyways, because of your delivery, don't pick up anything over 10 pounds. But also, here's your 7-pound baby in their 8-pound car seat that you need to carry to at least 3 doctor's appointments in the first week. But also, don't leave the house or drive your car.
and you're on and you're
Now
just
I
on your
will
own.
say the
Yeah.
hospital is also a transition home, but it's a better transition because
Yeah.
people have such a horrible experience in the hospital that home
Yeah.
is like an oasis.
Yeah. And then I
So
think
true.
on a flip side to that too, um with this last go round, like my midwife was great, and we spent so much time prior to me having my baby, and you know, during, and then even postpartum. I remember like after we
Mhm.
had our last appointment, like I was a little depressed because I was like, oh my God, like she had taken such great care of me. And I do have
That's
village,
wonderful.
right? But I think about like I would imagine that that's a similar experience if you do like this retreat where like you come back and you're like, okay, what now? You know, like
Right.
how do I like keep that, or like how do I make this into my reality, or how can I keep this consistent, you know?
So some of the postpartum retreats have a focus on the women. So they come with their babies and they have all of these support services. So I should probably go over like They'll have lactation support services. They have 24/7 nursery, so they don't, so at any point they have the ability to have someone care for the baby while they rest or while they do some type of self-care. Some of them have really nice self-care options like going for a massage. They also have support groups that they provide. And some of them will also have some amazing menus, by the way. So you're being well fed. Not all of these postpartum experiences necessarily are open for the entire family. Now, that would be kind of ideal in my utopia. My utopia has like a cabin. Yes. So my utopia is a cabin where the whole family stays and the support system is supplemental to the family. That's my utopia.
Yes.
But this particular utopia that's being marketed is not quite like that. And the other thing that kind of stood out to me is a lot of people don't realize that these are hotels. They're not separate establishments where people that are purchased by the services that it's providing them. They're literal hotels, and they take a portion of the hotel, a certain isolated part of the hotel, and create the system. So you're going into a hotel that is going to provide these services. You're not going into like our home that is set up. Because to me, that would be ideal, right? If you have a nice home, because then it feels less structured as a hotel.
I can't believe it, but it's already been about a month since I stayed at Poram postnatal retreat, and let me tell you guys, it was such a good and wonderful experience. My daughter and I were able to share a beautiful time together where we were just able to rest, relax, and bond. I was at such peace and was able to get a nice massage and enjoy this gorgeous lounge with a beautiful view, enjoy a cup of tea by myself, nurse my daughter in the same room. And most important, I was able to focus on my mental, physical, and emotional health throughout this stay, and I highly recommend it.
Anything else that you came across that you thought that women should be aware of when they're looking at some of these retreats?
I mean, I think one of the challenges, when you were talking about the challenges, I think one of the other things that come to mind for me is like accessibility, like who has access.
I wasn't gonna go there, but since you stepped into it, let's talk about it.
Yeah, because it's like it's cute in theory, right? But it's like who's actually able, or the very people who would need this the most, right? Are they able to go and have this experience, right? And then if not, then it's just another kind of like
Elite.
elitist, yeah, like country club,
Yeah.
girls
Yeah.
group, like sorority, if you will.
Yeah, no, it is. You're absolutely right, because it's a shared experience by a group of women. It is kind of like a sorority in that sense that they have this particular access that not the everyday person has. Because to your point, like these are not any Joe Schmo hotels. You're talking about the Waldorf Hotel in Dana Point, California. You're talking about the Park Lane Hotel in New York City, uh, the Langham Hotel in Chicago, the Village in San Francisco, and they come with a hefty price tag. So it is very elitist, right? The people who really need this support system, who are most at risk for having especially the mood disorders because of a lack of support system, they can't afford this. Because the price tag, like the Watermark Hotel in Virginia and the Haven in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm sorry, the Haven is at the Four Seasons in Atlanta, Georgia. Their price tag is about $1,000 per night for most of them. And they do have a requirement because again, it's still the hotel structure. And the
So
hotel
you're probably paying
structure,
that on top of just the regular expense of being within the hotel.
yes. And the hotel structures have minimum, right? You can't just go for a night or two escape, which would be nice if moms can like go 1 to 2 nights just to be away from everything and do some self-care. but no, they have like 3 and 5 nights minimum.
Yeah.
These are luxury experiences.
I
So
can't remember.
where I think we're missing, to your point, Janee, I think we're missing the concept of the South Korean system.
Mm-hmm. Because that's all that's inclusivity across the board from what I get from that it doesn't really matter, you know, what class, like you're a mom. Yes. Okay. Like this is accessible to
You
you.
have access.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have access. Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you in it. And in a way, I think it's almost even worse, right? Because here you have this great concept in terms of the foundation of it, which is give moms more support. And then you have this system where it's exclusive. So moms um who don't have this system now have this visibility, right? Because now it's all over the show, social and the media. So now you know this concept exists. It's
It's a
kind of like
thing.
all of the Say that one more time.
No, I was saying now, so now you know that this is a thing. Like this is a reality for someone, for other women, for other moms.
Right, right. And adds to that whole fantasy that we see on social media that, the birthing fantasy with the like everything but the angels playing. Like it's like
Okay. Ooh,
right. Some of these birth experiences that are on the social media, it basically looks like birth in heaven, right? And so for a lot of women who don't have the access, who don't have the ability to have these experiences, it can create another layer of discouragement. And the system that's built in South Korea, it wasn't about being exclusive. To your point, it was about the basic rights and basic services that moms deserve to
to
have,
have.
right?
Yes.
It's not like you have to earn your way to have these experiences. So I think we're missed the mark. I think again, you guys know I'm always going to blame capitalism for something. But for the most part, it is, someone looked at the concept, totally missed the mark of the purpose of the concept,
Mhm.
and then create a capitalistic way to try to duplicate it. But again, let the focus be profitability and not really a true support system.
Of
Because
support.
if not, we can create um, a different structure, a different strategy where we are at least are able to have a much wider access to a larger portion of the population. The amount of spacing in these hotels are not going to be great. So the amount of women that just from a logistics standpoint can actually get a
Do. Yeah.
reservation is going to be very limited for a population of millions of birthing women.
Mhm.
So what, Janee, do you have any, because your brilliance is, you're always on it. Do you have any concept as to like what would you like to see happen to address the support issue when it comes to moms?
Yeah, I worked really closely in the last like year with my midwife, and we talked a lot about just the importance of like starting early, right? It's like a holistic experience that you go through. And so like all moms should have access to just like that mental health, that emotional regulation as they prepare to bring a baby earthside. Like what's happening within my body? What am I feeling? What do I need? Right. So having like needs assessment and being able to kind of like personalize that to each mom so that when moms get ready to have birth, they are prepared. Of course, like things happen, but like they truly feel strengthened within themselves and knowing what to expect and what's happening, just knowing what's happening in their bodies, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
the process of it. And then after that, like having pieces in place. So whether that is a mom that says, I'm okay, like I can do the late nights, right? But I need somebody to be in here to help me clean this house, right? So
Right.
being able to set those things up. So it may not necessarily need to be like a retreat, but if moms could just have the kind of built-in support, whether that's helping to identify who those people are within the family, and if unfortunately they don't really have like the familial village, then connecting business wise to other women potentially like business. That's kind of always been one of my desires, is to like have a kind of like a perinatal service for women that they can kind of like what do you call it, like pick like oh, like a restaurant kind of like menu.
Right, like a
Menu,
menu
yeah, like
services.
menu service what they need, right?
I
So
like that.
for me, um I was one who could do the nights too, but like the other things that needed to be done in the house, it would be really helpful to have someone there to help clean up if my husband was working, or what have you, right? Another mom may have other children and needs uh transportation
Laundry,
services,
right,
or
right,
laundry, or meal prep. Um,
right,
and you might have a mom that's like, I have to sleep, like my baby's not
right,
sleeping, having maybe like a overnight midwife, who's a postpartum midwife, who's there for a few hours during the night to care for baby while mom sleeps,
right.
but also is there so that mom is still able to nurse or to have that bond and closeness, when necessary. And so I think the accessibility to it is like, it doesn't have to be a hotel, it doesn't have to be a specific structure. We can create this in people's natural
Homes.
habitat. One of the things that I loved so much about my experience with my midwife is she came and had sessions within my home. So I never had to leave and go to the doctor, go sit in the lobby for 3 hours to have
Right,
20 minutes.
right. Pack
She
the
can,
baby up, have to plan,
yeah.
pack the diaper bag, yeah,
Yeah. And even just
yeah.
even leading up to me having my baby, all of my like prenatal appointments, she came to the house. And because I
Mhm.
was planning a home birth, that also helped both of us to just be comfortable in the space, to know where everything was, so that when it was time for me to give birth, I wasn't also in my head like, okay, I need to make sure she knows.
Yeah.
I was able to just be, because she was familiar also now with my space. She
Yeah.
cared about it just as much as I did, right? So I think like
Mhm.
us can taking the idea of accessibility, but building that into people's natural habitat, because
I love
it
that.
might look it's gonna look different for every mom.
Dinner served.
Wow.
Here's a bell. And you need anything, you just ring.
This guy got a whole bell.
So we got Angel's egg and Alfredo chicken with strawberry lemonade. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you so much.
And keep your feet up. Don't move. Don't get off the bed. If you need anything,
Thank you.
enjoy.
Thank you. Where did you even get
Don't worry
that?
about
When
it. I
did
look
you
good in this,
even
don't I?
order that? You look good. When did you even order that?
I look good.
I love that. I love that idea. And that's it. If you were to ask me what I visualize, it's the same thing. So I'm going to co-sign that, because I do think it'll be great to have sort of this infrastructure where moms can access the services and have certain basic services that are very commonly needed across the board, like laundry, like cleaning, like meal prep. Those are very standard, where if one or two of those are met, it would make the lives of moms so
It
much
would
easier.
revolutionize. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
I most times, I mean, yes, like I'm a mental health counselor, so like yes, there are some like postpartum anxiety or like psychosis. There are real things that could happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for the vast majority, the postpartum depression, the baby blues, the postpartum anxiety is truly brought on from a lack of sleep
Mm-hmm.
and the lack of support.
Say it one more time.
That's it. It's
Yes,
really simple.
yes.
Lack of
Basic
sleep,
human needs.
lack of support. If we could allow a mom to get a full night's rest as much as possible, or
Right,
just a few hours,
right.
and also have her not having to get up to think about, oh my God, I have other children, I need to get them dressed. I need to eat, I need to da 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 da. Like if we could
Yes.
just help moms to just heal their bodies and be with their babies,
Yes.
I promise.
It would be
I would
revolutionary.
literally die on a hill
Yeah, it would be
that it
revolutionary.
would be different.
Yes. Yes, I definitely think that that is radical in thinking, and radical thinking is always what leads to solutions. I absolutely agree with you. Those are consistently with the patients that I've cared for, that has been the key factors consistently. It is a lack of support, and also, especially for those who have babies that have more challenges, like fussy babies or babies that have a great need.
Mhm.
If those two things are taken care of or addressed, it will be absolutely revolutionary. And it seems like it's such a simple solution, right? But if we value the outcome and if we understand the return, because from a capitalistic society, we're always looking at what's the return on our investment, because clearly we don't value the mental health. But if you really think about it, and you have women who have a higher quality postpartum recovery, they're probably more likely to return to work sooner because they have been able to heal and recover and be made whole in their postpartum period. The reason why we have a lot of women wanting, well, number one, we should allow women to spend more time with their babies. I mean, that's a whole other conversation. But even from, if you want to look at it from a financial perspective, the more you allow women to have a really good quality postpartum time period, the more likely she will be ready to return to work
Sure.
and be functional. But
Yeah.
when you have been exhausted for 6 to 8 weeks and then some, how do you
I'm
return
back.
to work and have these highly productive lives?
Mhm.
It's almost an impossibility. And when I think about it, for most people have had the experience of lacking sleep for one reason or another. You don't even have to be necessarily a mom. Most
No.
people have had some type of lack of sleep experiences, though it's not a continuous. But even in that moment that you had it, think about how you were the next day.
Mhm.
Most of
And
us,
so add
right?
multiply that by months.
Right. And add the healing and the demand on your physical body, and add the breastfeeding to it, right? And it's interesting. I remember I was reading at one point that this should give you perspective of of what happens to the mind when it lacks that type of sleep. Moms are woken up every 2 to 3 hours, right? At the nighttime. That is the same type of technique they use to torture certain prisoners.
I, and I'll make it personal, right? Like my son just turned 1.
Mm-hmm.
I've been breastfeeding since he came earthside.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, he still wakes up multiple, like I am struggling
Multiple times.
multiple times still to nurse. He never took a pacifier. So it's
Wow.
like a lot of times it's not even because he's hungry. It's more of like a soothing thing. So
Soothing.
like
Yeah.
he'll
Yeah.
latch within minutes. He's back asleep, but now I'm up, and then that's our
Right.
routine. The last 3 nights, my brother is still here with us, right?
Uh-huh.
My brother has brought him down to stay with him, like
Uh-huh.
the bed down to put in the room for us to try to see how he would do, like not being with me.
Uh-huh.
He got up the first. He gets up, he'll fuss, but he'll like get him back down.
Mm-hmm.
The last 3 nights, we have slept separately.
Mm-hmm.
I have been up in the morning before him,
Mm-hmm.
completely sleep, and so I'm like, this is the third time. This is the longest I have probably like full night's rest. And still I'm kind of like up at the shock that I'm asleep most nights, like thinking I'm missing
Like,
something because
right.
I'm so used to having him. But that's been a year of that.
Wow. Wow.
And I'm still nursing. So it's like
We've got to
I
really
know we're
understand the psyche of
functioning.
doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been functioning for a whole year on less than half the sleep that most of us get, and some of us are still struggling.
Yeah.
right?
And
It's
add other
that's
children, other
crazy.
children to the mix, jobs,
Right.
partners, school,
Still expected to be highly functional, highly productive.
and looked at as less than if at any point that some of that falters.
That's so true. That is so true. You are so right. It's really incredible. And this is why we need a solution. And this is why we need to add the urgency to finding one of these solutions. And there's going to be a solution. We just have to value it.
Yeah.
And even if we don't value, because we have an issue with valuing women.
And
So
that's
even if we don't get to that point, which hopefully we do at some time, if not in my lifetime, at least in somebody's lifetime,
yeah.
just even looking at the practicality of it, just even looking at the science of it, we've got to get to a point where we provide better services. Then we won't have as much postpartum comorbidities and complications. And that less complications decreases the cost of healthcare. There's so much value to what seems to be such a simple solution. That being said, listen, Janee, I know you can write a thesis on this, okay? Listen, and we may need you to write a thesis on this, but in the meantime, how can they follow you to get more gems, more pearls? If they want to tap into your services, how can they find you?
Yeah. On Instagram, I am Janee Tierra. And most times I'm on Facebook, and so just my name, Janee Mitchell. And of course, if anybody is in the need of mental health services or coaching, particularly moms, I do a lot of work with mothers going through the perinatal period. My website is www.forlove foundation.com, forlovefoundation.com.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. So make sure y'all hit her up and get yourself some services, get yourself some good support, get yourself someone who really knows what she's talking about and she walks the walk and she studied the walk. Okay. So definitely tap into her services and support her. Support. We
Support.
need y'all to
That's the word.
support. Yeah, support us.
Support.
Janee, thank you so much for walking us
Thank
through that and walking us
you.
through that topic. I think it's a topic we definitely need to keep in the forefront of the minds of people, even in these times, especially in these times.
Yeah.
But I am Dr. T, the hand behind the handle of Healthy Bump Club I forgot my hand. I am Dr. T, the hand behind the handle of Healthy Bump Club right here on YouTube and HealthyBump.club on Instagram. We thank you guys for watching us and we hope to see you guys when the next episode ends. This is Dr. T, just a friendly reminder. Don't forget to comment, like, and share. And go ahead, why not? Click that subscribe button. Help us to get to the next 1,000 subscribers. We thank you guys for supporting.